Well, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Anabel Encarnación, but I like to go by A. Today I'm going to attempt to explain what I like to call the Afro Hyphen. As I prepare myself to give this talk, I found that I couldn't find a single way in which I could describe the Afro Hyphen. And so in efforts to do so, I decided to explain it from a place of developing a Black identity. And so I hope that by the end of this talk, you both understand and appreciate the Afro Hyphen. And so one day I really needed to brush my teeth. I really needed to brush my teeth. And my best friend was in the shower, and I just barged into the shower while she was showering, and she pops her head outside of the tub and she goes, "Yo, can I ask you a question?" I knew then and there that I could forget about being on time to whatever she was gonna make me late to. She continued, "What really is an Afro-Dominican? It just doesn't make sense to me." And I tried to explain to her that an Afro-Dominican is a conscious Black Dominican reclaiming their Black and African ancestry. She told me that to say Dominican sure implied just that, and I said, I agree, but that's not the discourse that happens in the Dominican Republic. The Black identity is often negated, and it's often suppressed. But she continued to explain to me why she doesn't get it, and so I left, because there was nothing else I could do or say. But the question lingered, and it followed me like a shadow. And soon enough, I became racially and ethnically insecure. But I'm a curious person, and I found an opportunity in becoming a McNair scholar. And I dedicated my summer research to learning more about Latino-ness, Afro-Latino-ness, and everything that has to do with me and others who are like me. And I found that this racial and ethnic insecurity, it wasn't a personal phenomenon. And in fact, a lot of people, especially in the Spanish-speaking Caribbean, struggle with this Black identity insecurity. And so, soon enough, I found that amongst the countries that the Black identity is most denied is the Dominican Republic, my home island. And so the Dominican Republic is a Spanish-speaking island between Cuba and Puerto Rico, also Spanish-speaking and just as racially conflicted. And so I found that the Dominican Republic is especially conflicted because the island in itself is shared with Black and Haitian, in Haiti. And so what is special about the Dominican Republic is that the Black identity development it doesn't develop. Black people in the Dominican Republic suppress their identity. And even though the island in itself is shared with Haiti, there is this animosity from Dominicans towards its Haitian counterparts, as if we don't share an island. And specifically, the animosity comes from the 1930s. Trujillo, a ruthless dictator during the 1930s, found that Haitians were savage animals that threatened the advancement of the race, as if their often Black skin was synonymous to the fall of the nation. And so the identity in the Dominican Republic, even though there are so many Black people, they still don't have kind regards towards its Haitian counterparts. Trujillo, despite his own Haitian identity, pushed that amongst other Dominicans. And so, till this day, Dominicans still don't have kind regards towards its Haitian Black counterparts. Ironically, the Dominican Republic today can be described as a mix of African slaves and Spanish masters. And in fact, according to the 2013 Dominican Republic census, 74% of the Dominican Republic can be described in that way. 74%. That isn't an insignificant number, but still, Dominicans engage in the type of colonizer mentality that pushes them to relax their hair and to bleach their skin. And this colorful nation, it can be seen in the slave and master's sexual relationship. And in fact, mixed children weren't considered any less part of the society. And somehow, still, we're here, denying our blackness, as if you could deny this and this. And I tell you this about my home culture because the black identity development develops in this form. Most of the Spanish-speaking Caribbean still has these regards towards blackness. And so I realized that in order to claim the Afro before the Dominican, I had to first reflect on my cultural background and then on my ancestral background. And so simply, the Afro Hyphen is an attempt to reclaim the mother of all things black and beautiful, Africa. It is a modern method of resistance, of resisting contemporary views of beauty and defying contemporary stereotypes of the black person so often expressed in the media. It frees the black consciousness from self-racism and prejudice. It realizes that the black person is more likely to develop depression and of suffering of lower self-esteem just based on the color of their skin. And so it realizes that we too can be surgeons and engineers and English professors and even astronauts, all while being African kings and queens. And I realized by using the Afro Hyphen that in identifying as Dominican or as Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, what have you, it can imply being black and being African. It makes me realize that I don't have to try twice as hard to be half as good. That I am just as good if I was just given the opportunity to be so. And so the Afro Hyphen allows me to love myself as a black person and to love other melanin gods and goddesses. And so I'm proposing one simple thing tonight. How about we harmonize all black identities and think about it as the Afro Hyphen? Thank you.